and gentlemen, welcome to the Gary Common Council's Planning and Development Committee meeting. I am the committee chair, Darren Washington, Councilman at Large. Today, at this meeting, we have our council president, Councilwoman Barnes Caldwell, Councilwoman of the 4th District, Councilwoman Ivy, and Councilman at Large, Councilman Tolliver, and Councilman Wessington. And we also have 2nd District Councilman Mr. Halliburton, and our Attorney Renzo Williams. We have 6 items on the agenda this evening, and so we will start off with council pending ordinance 2026-19. Oh, that's right, I forgot. We have Councilwoman Mary Brown in the 3rd District and Councilwoman from the 1st District, Lori Latham. I wish we could have their pictures up. I see the LL like LL Cool J, but we know it's Lori Latham. Council pending ordinance 2026-19, an ordinance reviewing special use permit for property located at 1045 Shelby Avenue to be used as a short-term rental property by petitioner Island Time Rentals, sponsored by the Zoning Department. Petitioner Island Time Rentals LLC, 1045 Shelby Avenue, Gary, Indiana. Is there someone from the administration that will present? Attorney Molina, how are you this evening, sir? Your mic on, attorney.
I think I would learn that by now, but thank you. CPO 2026-19 is for property located at 1045 Shelby Avenue. This is among a few of them this week are short-term rentals. As you know, if it's owner-occupied as a matter of right under Indiana law, they can use it as a short-term rental, but if it's non-owner occupied in a residential district, they do need to seek a special use permit. This matter was heard on April 9th in front of the Board of Zoning Appeals. Everything was duly noticed as required by law, and the BZA at its hearing voted, this is the one with no recommendation. So they made no recommendation on this one. This was the first one they were dealing with, and it was a new BZA at the time, and I think there was some confusion on this initial petition. So there was no formal recommendation made. There was only 3 BZA members present, and as you know, in order for something to be voted on favorably or unfavorably, you need a majority of the total BZA, regardless of who's there. So there would have been the necessity of 3 votes, one way or the other. That didn't happen. So I would not view it as necessarily a negative on the property, but it was the first thing that the Board of Zoning Appeals was dealing with at the time. The property owners are here to speak about their petition. They have complied with everything that the zoning department has asked them to do. And there are several conditions that if this is granted, the board of, or the zoning department was requesting certain conditions if this is to be granted for them to comply with.
Okay. The petitioners, can you come up and explain to us why at this time you decided to want to construct or have Airbnb in the neighborhood? Give us your background, speak into the mic, your name, your address, and give us a breakdown of why you are here this evening. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having us. My name's Aaron Esser Khan. This is my wife, Elder.
My name is Jessica Byczowski.
We are the partnership that is Island Time Rentals, which is just an LLC.
Could you talk directly in the mic so the audience can hear you?
Sorry,
Yes,
just an
thank you.
LLC that we've used to create a legal structure for renting the Airbnb. So the reason we did this is, as we explained last time as well, we really loved Miller Beach. We've been coming here for a while now. We wanted to have a way to have a more permanent involvement with the community, but there's a large advantage to also having the ability to short-term rental it. We don't plan to use it as a permanent short-term rental. We plan to use it as our second home, but we wanted the optionality to be able to rent it both for, tax purposes that involve, there's some deals with STRs that allow you to pass through to your primary thing for tax reasons, and then also to alleviate some of the burden. But we also wanted to share what we fell in love with. We came here and used Airbnbs as our first way of experiencing Miller and experiencing Gary, and we thought we could do that again for other people, and really focused on renting it to families and people that are similar to us. We have twin 10-year-olds. They really love the beach. We wanted to kind of create a similar vibe of, a small number of people that would come. You saw we did a lot to make restrictions. We've also done a lot to ensure there will be appropriate guests and no noise, including putting in, noise monitoring devices that will automatically kick people out if they're over a certain decibel level. I have tested them with my children. I can assure you that even very loud, active, noisy children will not trip off this kind of sensor. So that's the short version. Is we are really excited to be a part of the community, but wanted the optionality to have a short-term rental.
And the name is a little bit misleading. It's a little bit of a joke between us. When we're here, we feel like we're on island time. It's such a lovely community, so we're not some sort of big conglomerate rental company. We actually were just here a couple weekends in a row and have sort of made the place our own and tried to incorporate as much as we can from the community. I'm constantly going to the old schoolhouse shops and just trying to make it reflecting of Miller and Gary, and we hope to be here as much as we can.
Okay. Any questions by council members? Councilman Westington? Then Councilman Tolliver? Oh, who? Halliburton? Okay, that's Councilman Halliburton.
And good evening. Where are you all from?
We're from the south side of Chicago,
Okay.
from Hyde Park.
One of the biggest things, how do you plan to monitor activities in the home? If you'd like to share that with us.
Yeah, so I mentioned this briefly, but we're using something called a minute noise monitor. So it continuously measures the decibel level, because you're legally not allowed to have a camera inside of a short-term rental. So it monitors noise, and it monitors smoke and heat and motion. And then there's an automatic system that alerts any guest if they rise over that decibel level. And then after 3 of those, we politely ask them to leave by changing the locks and kicking them out and voiding their contract, all of which is in place in our rental agreement, so it's a legally binding document. Then we have exterior-facing cameras to monitor the property, as well as a security system.
Thank you. Councilman Westington?
Thank you. When looking at the location of this property, how much do you actually expect as far as traffic goes for the short-term rental when you're not there? The reason I asked, I live down the street, so I'm curious. I drive past here like every day to go home. So I'm just curious, what's like? I don't know the metrics.
The way we put it in the plan, I think that's consistent with what we're expecting, is that it has an interior garage that can park easily 1 car, flexibly 2 cars, and the limit would really be at that, and then we would grant an exception to use the driveway space, which is the same thing we do with, guests that we have over. We have friends in Portage who come over and visit, and so it's just more convenient to park in the driveway if you're using it temporarily, but it's very explicit in the rental agreement that there's no street parking.
Okay. No, I appreciate you. Seriously, I'm glad that you are here and you're taking advantage of the beautiful area. So thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you for the question, and we hope to see you down the street.
Councilman Tolliver, then Councilman.
I would like to say that thank you so much. You educated me. I didn't know you could do it by the decimals and how loud it could be and things of that sort. Would you still be open? I know you have friends in Portage, but would you be open to having a management company to actually check that property and ride past it when it's being occupied, just to ensure that?
I'm sorry, I should have clarified that we have engaged a management company as well. It's Bechtold Cleaning Services, who I think also works in a few other places in the area. We're using them because the previous owners also use them, but they're familiar with the property. But we're also interested in seeing if there are other people available, or if you have any recommendations. We're sort of interviewing people if this all goes through.
I'm just thinking of just if it's any noise complaints or things of that sort, you'll have somebody on call that can go by.
Yes.
And just to see. Because when you look at it, I know you only have, you said it's 2 cars that can park in the garage, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. I was just thinking about around that bend. Sometimes cars go and park by Flamingos or by Volcano, or they'll try to be tricky and park down that way. So just to have somebody monitor that area. Because as you know, you've been here for a while, right? Airbnbs have been a really, really big problem in the Miller area. And we have to watch who we're renting to, so. Absolutely.
Yeah, and then to add to that, we're also going to use, there's several services you can use to screen guests. So if they've ever had a complaint or have had any, issues with the law in the past, there's screening services you can use to ensure that those people are not renting your place. So we also plan to be very selective in terms of who we allow in with a sort of long, detailed questionnaire for this reason exactly. It's our house. We don't want to have people in who are going to be disruptive, just like we don't want to disrupt the community.
Well, it sounds like you're very prepared, so great job.
Thank you.
Councilwoman President, and then Councilman,
Good afternoon, evening. I was listening. You all came before us before?
Not at this specific meeting, no.
Only to the BZA
BZA.
meeting. Yeah.
To the BZA. Okay. Because I was just listening and I was trying to figure out if this had been before us before. Because your story sounded so familiar for 2 or 3 other people who've
Right.
been here. That's why I was asking.
I believe the property was approved as an STR under the previous owners who used the name Beach Haven LLC. But those were different owners who were also moved to a different house in Miller. And that was the previous year's STR license, is my understanding. So there may be some familiarity. It might have been a year or 2 ago where they asked for that permit.
Okay, so you're gonna use this, you're not gonna be a resident, you're just going to be,
Well, we do plan to visit, I mean, you know, we do plan to visit as often as we can. We were here for the garden walk this weekend. We hope to be back for 4th of July, so I think I'm gonna have a hard time allowing dates to be rented, frankly, and I'm gonna have to fight with him a little bit on that, because I wanna be in it more than I want to rent it.
how long do you plan on being in business?
I-
At what point are you going to come take over your home and live there?
Yeah, I think our vision for that is probably several years, because we have 10-year-old children and they're at school in Hyde Park. So we wouldn't plan to do that until at least they had graduated from high school.
Sounds just like that.
Councilman Westington.
Please don't think that we're against you. Like I said,
We understand. I
yeah,
think
that's,
it's-
I live down the street. So does Councilman Tolliver, and that corner is just a very high traffic corner. It's literally right by everything else. But I'm glad that you're here, just because, as you know, with the holidays of summer, everything is looking amazing with all the guests. I'm glad that people are discovering Gary. So please note that we are excited that you're here. Why I was chuckling is simply because that management company is making a lot of money in Miller. I think every Airbnb in Miller is ran by the same company. Interesting. I mean, hey, that's business. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Councilwoman Blake want to speak.
Councilwoman Latham, you have a question?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm wondering if the petitioners can be more specific about how many nights they plan to rent it out versus how many nights they plan to stay in the property. And then also a question for Attorney Molina. Did we have any remonstrator?
Just real quick on that, Councilwoman Latham, we did not have any remonstrators, anyone show up against it. So, yeah, and then they can answer the question directly about the nights.
Yeah, so the short version of that is we plan to occupy it between 30 and 45, about 1 to 2 months of the year overall, and to rent it in the ballpark of 14 to 30 days over time. We expect that will be mostly during the summer, as that's sort of the peak season for beach access. The reason for that is that there are requirements for the participation and the pass-through for a tax-advantaged LLC, and that hits our minimum threshold without going over.
However, we do plan to use it in the winter as well, so that's,
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're not
it's-
only going to be here in the summer, but I'm just giving you the 2 months as an accurate estimate of how much we'll be occupying the property over the year.
Thank you, and thank you, Mr. Chair.
Welcome. Are you Anna?
no, I'm Jessica.
Okay. Is there Anna Eisenker here to speak? From Island Time?
Anna.
Is that maybe Aaron? My name is Aaron. That is
A-A-R-O-N.
close to Anna. It's my handwriting. That should be A.
Oh, this your Dr. Handwriting? Okay, all right.
I'm a,
No, I was, because what I was gonna do is that anybody that wanted to speak, it was, I was gonna let them speak right after, before the ordinance ended, and it was only one, and that was you all, so.
I'm fine with going by Anna also.
No, no problem. Any other questions by council members? Thank you.
Thank you.
Attorney Molina, can you come up? Where are we on the 90-day window?
We've got April 9th it passed, so we still have plenty of time.
Okay. All right, thank you. Next item is CPO.
Oh, yeah, April, May.
Right.
Oh, because, yes, because it got set back. Yes, it is actually, July 9th is the.
Yeah, this,
Yeah, so we'll have to, yeah. But we'll hit it with, it's on for the July 6th meeting, so we'll hit that. I mean, whether we vote yes or no, that's
Okay.
when it.
all right, next item on the agenda, CPO 2026-20, an ordinance reviewing special use permit for property located at 803-805 North Warren Street to be used as a short-term rental property by petitioners Mark Adams and Nicole Swan, sponsored by the zoning department, Mark Adams and Nicole Swan. Attorney Molina, you have the floor.
Good evening again, Councilman. CPO 2026-20, as you stated by petitioners Mark Adams and Nicole Swan, for property at 803 to 805 North Warren Street. Similar situation. This is a short-term rental, non-owner occupied. They also appeared at the April 9th Board of Zoning Appeals meeting. This one, as I said, we were kind of working out some kinks with the new board. So on the first one, they didn't vote formally one way or the other. On this one, they did vote 3-0 in favor of with a favorable recommendation to the City Council. There are 11 conditions that they requested be added, again, just to make sure that we keep maximum control over the short-term rental, and that's part of in the ordinance. I don't know if you have any specific questions, but it's very similar to the previous petition.
Is the petitioner here?
I believe their property manager is here.
Yep. Can she come up? Let us know why her client chose to open an Airbnb and provide as much information as possible. Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Samilia Bush, and I'm the property manager representing Mark Adams and Nicole Swan of the property located at 803-805 North Warren Street. Thank you for the opportunity to present today. I am here on behalf of my clients requesting a special use variance for this property. My client is also present via speakerphone and will be available to answer any questions the board may have directly. The request is for a special use permit to allow short-term rental use at 803-805 North Warren Street. The property was thoughtfully developed by the owners after discovering the area through visits to Indiana Dunes and making a long-term investment in the community by building a home on a previously vacant lot. The property is primarily intended for personal use by the owners and their family. Short-term rental activity is limited to periods when the owners are not in the residence and serves only as supplemental income to offset ownership expenses, not as a full-time commercial operation. The owners have demonstrated a clear commitment to compliance and responsible management. They have already obtained a certificate of short-term rental, secured a general business license, and maintained all required annual renewals. This request is being made in response to updated guidance requiring a special use variance. Operationally, the property is managed with strict self-imposed limitations to maintain neighborhood compatibility, including a maximum of 5 guests and no more than 3 vehicles per stay. Parties and events are strictly prohibited. My clients have installed exterior security cameras to actively monitor the property, reinforce safety, and ensure all guest rules are followed. The intent is to provide a quiet, well-managed environment for visitors who are primarily in the area to enjoy local amenities such as the Indiana Dunes, Lake Michigan, and community events. Overall, this use aligns with supporting local tourism. The goal is not to disrupt the neighborhood, but to complement it. I am a very active property manager. I remain accessible at all times. I'm frequently on site to ensure the property is well managed, and I'm very responsive to any concerns and operating in full compliance. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Councilman Wessington.
Yes, I do want to say kudos to you. Seriously, I've never seen more than 2 cars outside that property, like ever. never have any issues when I go past there. It's always it's very well maintained. I don't know. Did you take the trash out? Because it's always out there on time,
Yes,
and it's
we have a
always put
very-
back accordingly.
We
So- yeah.
have a very strict process that works, and the guest works very well with us. And we also require that they submit their license plates before they come. That's something that before we even give codes, we have to
Okay.
know who's going to be on the property.
So is that something that you do distinctively compared to other management companies? Because I'm really impressed by that property.
No, I'm not sure. These were clients that wanted to purchase a home, and it didn't work out. And Mark is on the phone, but they decided to build because they love Miller, and they took me on as their property manager, and it's been great ever since. We're super hosts. We get 100%. We have the 100% response rate. We all work together. So it's been great.
Yeah, I mean, you're booked in the wintertime too. Yeah, so I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank
Any
you.
other questions
Thank you for
by
that.
council members? Councilwoman Barnes Caldwell.
You all are functioning now?
So family and friends are coming. We have not taken any guests. We recently had a guest, and that's because we hadn't heard back from anyone regarding the next meeting. So, but during this process, I'll be honest, during this process, we hadn't been taking any guests.
So,
Go ahead, Councilman.
all right, because I got to backtrack now because you got me going in circles. So you said you have 100% on the rents
Response rate.
response
super-
rate.
Yep. So when a person communicates with you through Airbnb, you have to respond. So that means we respond within an hour to
I
people
get it,
who are
but we're
interested.
just approving now for a STR, right?
Well, we're considering it.
We're considering, right? So you guys have already been doing it without us even.
So like I stated, we were operating as a short-term rental.
You say
The
for
city came to us and told us that we needed to update. They were doing a new process, and they wanted us to be a part of that process. So we went through what they're asking us to. We did this. We had already had our we've already done everything. We had our business license, the short-term rental. This is something that the city said that they were doing, and we were just trying to be in compliance. So we've been operating for a few years with the city's understanding. I have the short-term rental that was issued. Every year we've renewed. This is something that we've been a part of. This is something new that the city has requested and required. The goal is not to work against the city at all. We're trying to work with the city.
Mr. Chair, can I clarify something?
Are you finished, Councilman? Councilman?
Yeah, so I do want to clarify something when it came to state legislation. So these properties have already been short-term rentals on Airbnb for years. It wasn't required by law, this new process. So I appreciate you for not taking clients during this time period, because it is disrupting your business. So I'm going to advocate for you because I'm
you.
all for it. I'm sorry.
I don't know that
yeah.
everyone did not know that.
Yeah, I don't, and it wasn't communicated. And I'm gonna be honest with you. This is new. Yeah, this is a new process. So a lot of these houses were already Airbnbs well before we even moved in. Now, though, it's required by law that they come before local municipalities to get the proper approval to do so.
Well, Councilman, let me say this now.
Go ahead.
Before you got on the council, even when Ty Atkins and William Godwin was on the council, it was a requirement to be registered as an Airbnb. So I don't know how that did not get out, because that was a requirement before some of you all got on the council. So regarding getting recertified, that's something that should have happened, because this is not the first time that we've had people come before the council. You don't come before the council to get certified or to recertify a Airbnb. You come to us for proper zoning, and you don't have to do that every year. So when they come before us, before you got on, if this is the first time that is this the first time that you have come to the city council after going through zoning to say we want to turn this into an Airbnb?
Yes, because we were under the impression that there was not a process to request a short-term rental. It was not. This was something that we were told that was new. Okay, 'cause I'm wondering if I'm.
Can you speak? I'm asking our attorney because I think I was incorrect, so he can clarify.
Yes, I think Council Winsington explained it well. Prior to the change of the law, which I believe took effect sometime in either late 24 or early 25, I'll defer to Marco Attorney Molina on that, they were allowed to pre-exist without authorization from the council. Of course, they had to have the proper zoning, which I'm assuming they did. At this point, they now have to seek redress from the council to continue to exist. And
Okay.
these are the first group that are going through that process.
Okay, all right. I stand corrected. Attorney Molina?
I'll just add on to that exactly. And I think I will say, like, kudos to the administration because they've done a good job of making people aware. In the past, people were getting renewed business license without coming before to get the short-term rental special use permit. And so they believed they were doing everything right because the city was approving their business license. And what Dr. Martin has done in that department is she goes through all of these and she's notifying people. And that's why we're seeing a lot of these come forward because we're notifying people who didn't realize since they were getting their business license time and time again.
So we'll probably have some more people coming before us.
Exactly.
Okay, because that hadn't happened before. Okay, I understand now. All right. Any other questions, Madam President? Did you have a question? Thank you.
Thank you.
We had someone here, Mark Adams. Oh, Mark is on the phone. No, see, Mark Adams had to come in person. So you take care of that. And this is the thing that we want to make it clear to everybody. When you come and get your zoning done, we prefer to have all petitioners in person. So if there are a lot of questions that come from council members, they can be asked at this committee meeting, the structure, because when we get to the actual meeting, we don't want to have a lot of back and forth of questions being answered. That's why we have these committee meetings right now. So I don't see a lot of questions from committee persons. Let me ask, is Councilwoman Latham or Brown, do you have any questions of the petitioner?
I do. Thank you. Can you hear me, Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Actually, it's for Attorney Molina, and I know I'm putting you on the spot here, so feel free to postpone the answer for another time. But any idea how many of these short-term rental permits have been issued? How many short-term rentals are compliant with our new law?
Councilwoman Latham, probably Dr. Martin would be able to give you a much better estimate on that, and she's here, so I'm going to ask her to step forward.
Thank you.
So currently there are a total of 46. You've already heard at least 4 or 5, with this being another 4. So as they renew, we kind of add them up. I'm up to about 46 of those that have not had special uses or that can't verify whether or not they have the special use. So we're just trying to bring them into compliance with the ordinance that I read.
Thank you for that. And just for some context, I'm sure we have over 1,100 short-term rentals compared to the very small number that have been permitted. So appreciate you all's diligence on helping to bring these entities into compliance. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
Dr. Martin?
Yes,
That
ma'am.
46, that's for 2026?
Those are those that they're in renewal, right? So since January, they've been renewing their.
Okay, their license.
Yep, because they expire on the 31st. But it's like the word is kind of getting around, so we're getting a little bit of a influx, and a lot of them trying to just come, and we make sure we notify them as well.
All right, thank you.
Well, Mr. Dumas, I would say you have the right person in Dr. Martin because she will find everybody. Thank you, Dr. Martin. Any more questions from council members? All right, we'll go to the next item. CPO 2026-21, an ordinance reviewing a special use permit for a property located at 2255 Jennings Street to be used for independent living by petitioner Tia Thomas. Attorney Molina, you have the floor.
Good evening again, everyone. So this is mixing things up a little. This is Independent living, Dr. Martin can talk about the specific definition of it, but essentially it's helping people who need help without providing medical assistance. They would live together in the daytime. It's not 24 hours. This property at 2255 Jennings is located in a residential district, R2, and a special use allowable in that district is this type of independent living. Obviously, they need to meet the 7 standards of a special use permit, and those are set forth in your ordinance. But essentially, we're making sure that the use is not detrimental, doesn't endanger the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare, that the use will not be injurious to the use and enjoyment of other properties in the vicinity, that the establishment of the special use does not impede or substantially impair the normal, orderly development and improvement of surrounding properties. Adequate utilities, access roads, drainage have to be provided. The adequate measures have been or will be taken to provide for access management, ingress and egress, designed to minimize traffic congestion. That the special use will be located in a district where the use is authorized. Again, this one is authorized under the permissible use in that R2 zone. And then that the petitioner documents that the proposed special use provides for the implementation of sustainable growth principles and initiatives as approved by the board. This matter came before the Board of Zoning Appeals on April 9th also, and this one did receive a 3 votes in favor, none against, to provide a favorable recommendation forwarded to the City Council. As you will see in the ordinance provided to you, the zoning department really wanted to make sure we keep a tight control on this property, and if this is approved, they had 19 conditions which they wanted the property to comply with in order to make sure, again, that it's clear that this is not for medical use. There's no on-site medical, nursing, or behavioral services. We don't want it to become a medical facility. And so you can go through the 19 requirements. I don't want to read them. I can read them all, but you can read them and just know that the idea behind that, and again, Dr. Martin can speak more to that, is just to make sure the city maintains tight control. But this is an allowable use under the R2 district.
Dr. Martin, do you have anything you need to add?
So after, kind of going through this independent living is kind of a new arising. So we had to make sure that it didn't become a facility where it became a group home and things of that nature, because that's not what it's for. Independent living, as is identified by all state documentations of that definition, is they must be able to live and provide and do things on their own. It's really more of a boarding type of process, and they must have communion activity, which is them coming together for a home meeting, but they cannot need assistance. They cannot need care by the owner or anyone that helping them to do anything as far as medical, right? So we have to draw that line. It's hard to kind of take that out because of the fact that, they might have a doctor or something, but we must make sure they are independently able to live on their own inside this home. Which is why you have the 19, because it's just hard when it's a newer occurrence for it not to shift or deviate itself into this different practice. So we want to make sure, and it is a larger coming of these as well.
Is the petitioner here? Can you come up and speak to us and tell us why you decided to open this independent living home, and what is your mission and your plans to help revitalize this community? How are you today?
I'm good. How
Thank
are
you for coming.
Good evening. So I had wrote something, but I'm just gonna go ahead
Let's
and
speak
talk.
from the heart. Yes.
So when I was, I'm a paramedic, and I was a paramedic on the Gary Fire Department for 31 years before I retired in 2021. During my tenure on the fire department, I noticed that a lot of people, they needed help, and the independent living home is for, let me say it like this, we're living in very stressful times right now. and there's a lot of people that aren't able to pay mortgage, pay rent, pay NIPSCO, pay water, sewage. They just need somewhere to stay. The independent living home is for people who can come in, take care of themselves, they can cook for themselves, they can bathe, they can get out, they can go to work, but I will have a one set fee of what they pay. They will have shared living. It's 2 beds. I was approved for 3 residents. It's 2 beds in one room, 1 bed in the other room, and they will pay 1 fee. But everything else is taken care of. Everything else is I pay the NIPSCO, I pay the water, I pay the sewage. They just pay that 1 fee to live there. And they cook their own food, they go to work, they come back. House will be kept clean at all times. There are rules and regulations, policies and procedures that I will put in place. If they drive, there's street parking. There's also a driveway with a carport. I literally stay 2 houses down from this resident, so if anything happens, I'm a phone call away, run down the street, not run, walk down the street. So like I said, the reason I did this is because looking at the people in the city of Gary, they need help, but they don't know what the resources are. They don't know how to find help. And I think this would be good to get people off the street. Even though people may be homeless, they still can take care of themselves. You understand what I'm saying?
Questions by council members?
Yes. Thank you, Mr.
Councilwoman
Chair.
Ivy?
I have several. Not quite sure how to word them properly. So,
Okay.
Attorney Williams, would it be better if I emailed her my list of questions to get response by the next meeting?
Yes.
Okay. Just for a better understanding of how this works, and will you be housing only males or women and children? Just more in-depth explanation of how this will go.
So right now, I'm looking for women.
Okay.
Women only. And I can't really I'm not gonna, well, let me put it this way. I was only approved for 3 people. So I can only do 3 people.
And Attorney Molina, how about the surrounding neighbors? Were there any remonstrators against? Were there any
And did you sit out those?
Councilwoman, yes, this was duly noticed. The
was
notices
duly
were placed
noticed,
with the surrounding neighbors. We did not have any remonstrators. I didn't recall in checking with Dr. Martin, she agreed there was no remonstrators at the.
All right, thank you. And would you provide an email address?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question. Will you have staff as you have 3, and as you get larger, will you have staff that would be there to kind of help out?
No, well, it doesn't require staff. So I would come in and make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do. I'll make sure that the house is clean. I'll make sure that the kitchen is clean, that their rooms are clean, that they follow the rules. So it won't be any staff. It's
Okay.
independent living. They will be living on their own.
Okay. Do you look to get larger one day?
Yes.
And the
This
reason
is-
why I
this-
say that, you're to be commended for this, and I don't think a lot of people really understand. Me and Mr. Dumas professionally have come from that line of work, and as people live longer and people exercise more, sometimes their cognitive or other areas may not grow and may be in decline, but they can be independent. And the ability to not have to worry about all these different bills and be able to go to one location where all of that can be taken care of
Exactly.
and still enjoy your life. You have family that's visiting you, and then even if you don't have family, that is a great option instead of going to a nursing home or somewhere else.
Exactly.
And I anticipate, I don't say this because Councilman Halliburton, he'll never need anything like this because he walks around Wicker Park like 30 times in the hour. He's in excellent shape because I see him every now and then walking around Wicker Park. But as people, and I say that because when I go out there, and I see the councilman, I see a lot of people in their 70s and 80s, and they're driving and they're walking and they're in good shape. But again, somewhere like this, because they have them in other communities and they work really well. So I want to thank you, especially administration, for working on something like this, because this is something that's going to be needed in our community going forward. So thank you for the work that you're doing.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you. And Attorney Molini, can you make sure that Councilwoman Ivy gets that email, and then they can share that information? All right, next on the list is CPO 2026-22, an ordinance reviewing a special use permit for property located at 901 Potawatomi Trail to be used as a short-term rental property by petitioner Ward Investments LLC, sponsored by the Zoning Department and petitioner Ward Investment LLC. Attorney, you have the floor.
Good evening. 2026-22, again, petitioner Ward Investments, Mr. Kareem Ward is here. It is for the property located at 9101 Potawatomi Trail, and it's zoned R1. He does not reside there as his primary residence, so he's looking to get the short-term rental permit, a special use permit. This matter came before the Board of Zoning Appeals on in the May meeting, which date of that I think was May 14th. We now had a more seasoned BZA at this time, and everyone was present, so that passed by a 5-0 favorable recommendation at that hearing. Like other short-term rentals, the zoning department is recommending certain conditions, that they have the general business license, as everybody else is required to have, that they comply with all applicable inspection, occupancy, zoning, property maintenance requirements, that it complies with all noise and nuisance, parking, trash, and neighborhood compatibility regulations. Any future complaints could result in enforcement action, and any expansion would not be allowable without coming back in front of the council. So at this point, if you have any specific questions for Mr. Ward, I believe he is here, but that is the position of the BZA at this time, was that it should be granted.
Yes, come on up and talk to us and tell us. We're grateful for you coming to our community, so let us know what made you decide to invest in Gary, Indiana, and give us a breakdown on what you want to see happening, and then probably some other questions that council persons may have for you. Good evening. Thank you for being here today.
Good evening. My name is Kareem Ward, born and raised Gary, Indiana. I'm a local investor. I rehab and sell several properties. I own about 14 rental properties throughout Gary, Chicago. So I've been doing this quite a while. I bought the house out in Miller about, I think, 2000, totally gutted it, rehabbed it, started Airbnb about 2021. Same scenario. I had the general business license renewed every year, and then this year they reached out about coming through the process for the special variance. We have a 96% rate with Airbnb and Verbo on reviews. I have cameras outside the property, front and back. My property can occupy 12 people. My lot can park 8 cars. My cameras are equipped with sound, so and it's hooked directly to my phone for motion. I do all my managing of all my properties. So as the movement goes on, it goes directly to my phone. That's usually my indication whether I got to start looking or not. Certain times I'm getting a lot of dings and I start paying close attention to what's going on. Haven't had any problems. Pretty close with the neighbors. They all got my personal number to reach out, so if they feel like something's getting out of hand or too much noise, they are able to reach out. Haven't had to do that because I monitor pretty well on the cameras what's going on. So that's about it. If you got any questions, I'm glad to answer them for you.
Any questions about council persons? Hearing none. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Next
Mr.
item.
Chair?
Oh, I'm sorry. Councilwoman Latham.
Yeah, I hate that I can't be there in person, but accommodated me virtually. I just had a question for the petitioners. for the petitioner if he would be open to, at least in the listing, reducing the number of occupants and parking spots. 12 people and 8 cars sounds like a party to me. So I'm wondering if he would be willing to give any consideration to limiting to the number of inhabitants as well as the spaces available on the listing.
Again, I've been operating for 5 years. You know, you have multiple families that might come in. You know, I've had families come in as 2 or 3 families with kids, so I get up to the 12. So I'm never say I'm not open for anything, but at the same time, I do take pretty good care of paying attention to what's going on out there, making sure that it's in my guidelines that it's private parking. Once you park on someone else's property, you will be asked to leave. I do my due diligence in that, and I've been pretty successful of it. So, yes, I'll be open to anything, but I will like to say that I do take pride in keeping the community and the neighborhood, because it's a quiet, peaceful neighborhood, and I don't want to cause any problems.
Sure.
So I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I would even maybe offer, if there's a possibility, since, you know, when you get 12 people, there are more families, perhaps specifying in the listing 6 adults and a total of 12 people, but 6 adults and 6 children, like that, just to make sure that when people read the listing, they understand that it's not a party house, and also that you're attracting more families instead of folks who are just coming for a good time. Also, one of the things that I've learned from other property managers is in the listing, making sure that you specify that there aren't any local renters. That renters do need to come from out of town when you have a house that can accommodate those large numbers.
I don't know if I would agree with that one, because I'm not going to put limitations on people from our community being able to rent from me. But at the same time, on my listing, it is very well known that it's no parties, parking is private, only people that's on your reservation should be in the property, and I have the right to ask anybody to leave if the rules are being broke. And I've been pretty successful at it, like I said, for the last 4 years.
All right, thank you. Councilwoman Barnes Caldwell.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ward, you haven't had any incidents where the police were called?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we think that you would take everything in consideration.
Yes, appreciate
All right,
it.
thank you, sir. Next on the agenda is CPO 2026-23, an ordinance reviewing special use permit for property located at 3150 Richard Gordon Hatcher Boulevard to add to the use of a compressed natural gas at gas station. Zoning Department and petitioner Trailman Transportation Fuels. Okay, I thought it said something else. All right, go ahead.
2026-23, this is the Love's gas station over at 3150 Richard Gordon Hatcher Boulevard. And the petitioner is Trillium Transportation Fuels, which is Love's gas station. They filed this petition, which it's Zone B51 right now, which is allowable for a gas station. And they're merely adding the use of compressed natural gas as an add-on. They will still continue to operate as a gas station and would have this addition. It does meet all the requirements for, according to the Board of Zoning Appeals anyway. They voted 3-0 in favor of this to give a favorable recommendation at their 5-0 in the May 14th meeting. There were some conditions, and again, the conditions are merely that, oh no, there's not even any conditions, because this is just, it's going along with the actual use. There were conditions, I'm sorry. That they meet with all state, federal, and city permits and approvals, prior to operating the compressed natural gas portion of the business. They comply with all applicable fire, environmental, engineering, and safety regulations. That fuel storage, dispensing equipment, and operations will be maintained in accordance with all applicable codes and industry standards. That any future expansions or modifications of the use would require additional review and approval, and that the property would remain compliant with all applicable zoning, nuisance, and property maintenance requirements. They do have a representative here to speak on the petition, so he can certainly answer any
Yeah,
specific
come on up and
questions
speak. It's kind of self-explanatory, but we don't want you to come this way without having the floor in case some questions come.
And that's probably the main reason why I came, is to answer any questions there. So my name's Kyle Yannick. I do work for Love's, specifically our alternative energy division. So anything that's not wet fuels, it's not diesel and gas, so EV, CNG, hydrogen, renewable natural gas, we own and operate stations and plants for all of those types of fuels. So back to this station, yes, adding compressed natural gas to that existing Love's store. You know, I don't know if anybody's ever seen a CNG fueling pump, but it looks exactly like a gas pump, except the nozzle's a little bit different since we're flowing gas instead of wet fuels. So we'll be adding a canopy, adding those fueling dispensers, and there'll be some compression equipment, taking utility gas, compressing it from 100 pounds to about 4,000 pounds, and that'll be staged on the property as well. And if you're not any more familiar, you know, CNG, it is widely adopted as a fuel source. A lot of the vehicles, fleet vehicles that you have running on I-90 and I-94 here probably run on CNG. So I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel, just trying to capture some of that business, and specifically for some of the fleet vehicles that run the roads up here.
Thank you for coming. We have any questions from any council persons? Councilperson Latham, Councilwoman Brown? Got one question. Are you gonna have E85 anytime soon?
I can't answer that.
See, you say you was ready for questions.
No, I know. Yeah, I know.
I got an E85 truck, and I haven't seen it at any lows yet. So if you all can work on that, we appreciate it. Halliburton, stop! Don't look at me like that.
I'll get my counterpart on the unleaded side and see what we can do.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I did have a question, Mr.
Yes,
Chair.
Councilwoman Ivy.
This type of gas is for what type of vehicles?
So if a vehicle has a natural gas driven engine in it, as opposed to a combustible gas engine or a diesel engine, so any vehicles can have I mean, you can go buy a Ford truck with a natural gas powered engine in it there, if you want to.
Eco-friendly?
Absolutely. It has lower emissions than all your combustible gases and your diesel fuels there.
All right, thank you.
You bet.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mrs. Dumas?
Real quick, Madam President, I'm sorry, Madam
Yes.
Councilwoman, and Madam President, everybody. Just so for food for thought, this is much needed because the city of Gary was awarded under a BP consent decree, compressed gas vehicles for buses. Unfortunately, none of our schools own their own buses, so we awarded those to the new YMCA Tolleson Opportunity Campus to help bus kids from the schools to the campus. So 2 new compressed gas vehicles are there, as well as the city was looking to hopefully obtain as another alternative clean fuel source. So this would help us move forward, because right now we would have had to install our own pump, which would also end up being a huge cost for the city. So there's a growing need in regards to this.
Appreciate that
Mrs.
insight,
Dumas.
Chief.
Thank you, sir.
You bet.
Councilwoman,
How many will you have?
How many pumps? We're planning to have three lanes there. Probably mainly serving heavy duty vehicles, but light duty vehicles will also be able to fill up there as well.
Do you have any more in the area?
We do. We actually have another one in the city of Gary there. It's on 15th Street, or 15th Avenue, 6700 15th Avenue. I think that's in, I did my homework, that's in the 3rd District there. Yeah.
Councilwoman Brown, they got some gas for you there. Man.
And that's actually a recently acquired station by my company there. We acquired that station along with 45 other stations across the U.S. Middle of last year. 6700 15th Avenue. Yeah.
You want to make sure it's not the 4th. Thank you, sir.
You bet.
And we believe deep in your heart soon we will have E85.
Okay. Do my best.
Thank you. Last item on the agenda this evening is the ordinance reviewing use variance for property located at 563 South Lake Street to be used as a veterinary clinic by petitioner Silver Stray Social Incorporated, sponsored by the zoning department. Attorney Molina.
Good evening. On the 2026-24, this is for property located at 563 South Lake Street. The petitioner, Silver Stray Social Inc., is an Indiana nonprofit corporation providing animal care. They can tell you more about it. I think it's either low cost or free. This was under, it's currently zoned B2, and what they sought is a use variance. A use variance has 5 factors that we look at. Whether the approval is injurious to public health. We don't obviously want it to be injurious to public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. This proposed veterinary clinic is a low to moderate intensity commercial service that is compatible with surrounding commercial corridor. Conditions imposed by the board also limit the intensity of the use and mitigate potential impacts. So that first matter, according to the Board of Zoning Appeals, they felt like that was met. The second matter is use and value of the area adjacent to the property would not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. Again, it is a commercial corridor characterized by service-oriented businesses, so the belief was that it would comply with that. The third factor is that the need for the variance arises from conditions peculiar to the property, as not due to general conditions of the neighborhood. This property is improved with existing commercial structure suitable for service-based use. The current zoning does not permit explicitly veterinary clinics within the B2 district, and that's why they're seeking the variance. The strict application, number 4, is the strict application of the zoning ordinance would constitute an unnecessary hardship if applied to the property. Again, this Indiana nonprofit has a very noble purpose, and without getting this use variance, they would not be able to use the property for that purpose. And the final one is that approval of the variance does not interfere substantially with the comprehensive plan. In reviewing it, the Board of Zoning Appeals felt that it did not work as the comprehensive plan designates the area for commercial use. This is in compliance with that. There were still conditions that were recommended, those being that the property would be limited just to veterinary clinic providing medical care and treatment of animals only. There would be no kennel, animal boarding, overnight boarding, or animal daycare. Animals would not be kept overnight unless it's short-term monitoring of the animals, and they should not be kept on the property for more than 24 hours. There are no outdoor kennels, runs, or animal enclosures that would be permitted. All operations would occur within fully enclosed structure. The use would comply with the applicable building, fire, health, and zoning regulations, and that any expansion or intensification of the use could not be granted without coming before the Board of Zoning Appeals again to expand the use. The members of or representatives of Silver Stray are here, and they can answer specific questions about their plans for the property.
Thank you. Mr. Silverstray?
I'm Jay Weinberg. I'm president of Silver Stray.
Now, you're not Kelly Silverstray?
Kelly's not here. She's
okay.
Somewhere around doing who knows what.
Well, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, I need to take you with me everywhere. He kind of answered almost everything. I can give you the spiel, though. I mean, it will be the first free access to care and career pathway vet clinic in the entire United States. Like, it's a really big thing that we're hoping for here. It's not going to operate as a full-time clinic either, so it's something to consider. The services will occur on limited scheduled days. No overnight animal stays, as he had said. It isn't a shelter or boarding facility. All the services are appointment-based, short duration. The majority of the animals are also transported by our team, so they're actually going to pick up animals and bring them to the facility. Surgical days will be limited to probably just even a couple of days a month. So like we're talking 1 weekend, 2 weekends a month maybe at the beginning. The intake will often occur in the rear access of the building as well, because we're being very mindful of, you know, the street there in Miller, just to kind of minimize impact and visibility. We've been operating Silver Stray in Gary for the past 3 years. We provide free vaccines, microchips, food, spay and neuter, and we also have an MOU with Gary Animal Control. Outside of surgery days, the space will be, it'll primarily function as an office and a resource hub and a coordination space for our network of community partners. We have 75 different community partners, some of them in Gary, some of them just across the United States. But it will include storage, distribution of donated supplies, educational materials, and occasional small-scale programming, like volunteer coordination and veterinary shadowing opportunities. So that's kind of the career pathway aspect of what the clinic's going to be, because it'll create opportunities for mentorship and shadowing in veterinary care, including access to our medical director, Dr. Baradas, and she's the only black female veterinarian in all of Northwest Indiana, and it's already proven to help expand exposure and opportunity for local youth. The intensity will remain low with minimal foot traffic. We have no proposed changes to the building, parking, or exterior use. The request really just pertains strictly to interior operations. And of course, our goal is to operate a quiet, controlled, and community-focused space that supports the residents without creating disruption to any of the surrounding properties.
Any questions from council members? Councilman Tolliver and Councilman Westington.
I want to say first, Jay, thank you for all you and Kelly have been doing with Silver Stray throughout Gary. I've seen the free clinics. It's been really, nice, and thank you for that. I'm glad that you explained a lot of. I know that in that area, people had a problem with the notion of the animals being boarded overnight, people being able to walk into both the restaurants, dogs, and things of that sort. So I love that. With food being served on both sides, is it possible to get, just two things, is it possible to get like a noise deflector on the walls to block out the noise for the barking and things of that sort for the patrons at both areas?
Yeah, we should be able to do any kind of noise diffusion if that becomes a problem. Absolutely. It's really weird. I was at the building before I came over here.
Yeah.
And I heard a dog barking, and I'm like, what is going on? We don't even have anything in here right now.
Yeah.
It was the neighbor behind the building, and the dog was barking.
Okay.
So like already I could hear that from at the front of the building and went back. So if that becomes an issue, yeah, we can do like, you know, noise reflection and stuff. And another thing that's really pertinent to consider, the previous owner of the building actually had an air filtration system put into the building.
Okay.
So he didn't have to smell Taco Tuesday. He just didn't want the scents coming in, so naturally the scents will also be contained, and plus it's a medical facility. So it'll be of the highest order and cleanliness and everything. So yes, for sure, if that becomes an issue, it's something we can look at.
Absolutely. And then for the people that are watching, our constituents, when you talk about short-term medical observation, you know, people were in an uproar thinking about animals being surgically, you know, getting things neutered and spadered during the hours of people eating and things of that sort. So can you talk about a little bit of the short-term medical observation and what's going to be happening during those times?
So again, basically like maybe a day during a weekend, or it could even be a weekday if it's like, I know like Tiny's, for instance, is closed on Mondays.
Yeah.
So that might be something that we try and look into, because we're trying to work with everybody, you know. But there'll be like 30 animals. Essentially the animals, when they come in, they pretty much go right into observation, and then they get put under, you know. So they're not, the barking, all that stuff is really going to be almost a non-issue, because they come in, they go under, they get on the surgery table, then they have to go into recovery, and then during recovery they're just still groggy when they're coming out. They're very docile, and then they'll be kind of loaded up and taken back home. So it should be, you know, very minimal impact on all of those things.
All right. Thank you.
I believe the same constituents called us both, so. It's all the same question. So no, I don't have any more questions. Thank you. That was a concern, as you know.
Sure.
Yeah, a place that we hang out. Yeah, people want to make sure that while they're consuming their food, they're not bothered by local noise and things.
Absolutely, yeah.
But no, thank you. And also, too, you and Kelly been doing a great job.
Thank
I really
you.
do appreciate all you've been doing. So thank you.
Councilwoman Latham, you or Councilwoman Brown have any questions?
I just had one for Attorney Molina. I want to thank Silver Strait for coming before the committee today. And for Attorney Molina, any remonstrators?
There were 6 people who showed up. I think Tiny's, who's next door, was one of them. I think they had, I mean, I don't know if they're, in his presentation, Jay tried to address their concerns with some of the stuff that he stated today. But yes, there were some people who were concerned about the density and the fact that there are animals close to restaurants in the area. Sure.
I have spoken.
Got it. Thank
you. First of all, Lori, I want to thank you because Lori was actually at our very first outdoor clinic 3 years ago in the city, so that's awesome, and thank you for the support. I have spoken to Matt at length, and we're, you know, doing everything we can at Tiny's to make sure that he understands. At first, he didn't understand this is going to be so low use. I understand there's a thought that like animals are just coming in and going and coming and going. It's not what it's going to be. So.
I did have a question.
Oh, you had a question? Go ahead.
Hello, I've heard of Silver Stray as well. I want to thank you for all the great things you are doing in the city of Gary. With 6 remonstrators, how will you keep the communication open with them to make sure that those concerns are being addressed? And also, along that strip where this location will be, there's open windows, right? Large window displays. How friendly will that look for
Yes.
a person walking into the adjacent establishments?
Sure.
What will they see? How will that go?
Right. So one of the things, like I said, we have one of the rooms is designated for the community partners. So we're going to have literature from Gary Literacy Coalition. It's a place where people can come in. Those front windows, you won't see any of the surgical stuff, none of the, you know, office type of stuff. That's all the way in the back. In fact, one of the partners that I'm working with now is talking about doing an art therapy program. I'm an artist myself, so it's another way I can scratch that itch and helping with the community. And so we're working on a program that they can just use that space to do the art therapy there, maybe even small little gallery showings with pet, you know, paintings and illustrations and that sort of thing. And as far as the neighbors, again, like I said, I've been talking to Matt. We've had a great relationship. To be honest, I was kind of blindsided. I didn't even think that was coming.
Well, you know, working with someone and doing business is like 2 different things.
Understand.
Knowing someone and working with them, that's
Well,
two
no, I
different
understand
things.
that, but we literally had our first fundraiser meeting at Tiny's.
Yeah.
For the building, like,
But
so
you
that's
weren't
why I
his
was kind of
neighbor.
blindsided. And so, again, talking though about it afterwards, I think it was just they didn't understand the limited use that it actually is going to be. And now that we've kind of articulated that, and you know, just concerns about this is where I've been parking in the back, how does that work, all that stuff. I'm like, we're literally so low key. I mean, we just want to be a part of the community and continue to do good things and good service. So
Thank you so much.
absolutely, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.